How y'all doing today? My name's Ian, and today's topic of discussion is what can I do with bad energy? What can I do with bad energy? Now, when I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about these interactions that you have with people, and they're just like really a downer. Really just, they're a drag to talk to, because everything that they're talking about is like in this, this negative, mind space of where you're at. It's just not a very good time when you're dealing with them. And when you're having these interactions and you're trying to kind of like shed light on exactly what's occurring between the both of you, and just, you're trying to do a pick me up, it's as if they recognize what they're doing. They recognize what they bring to the relationship. And they're like, hey, look, I'm in this bad headspace. Be here with me on it. I know that it's bad. I know that it's, nothing that's good that's come from, but I just want you to just kind of mingle with me down here a little bit. Now, some would say, well, there's nothing wrong in, meeting a person where they need to be met. No, that's fine and that's good, because sometimes we all are in a bad headspace. And to come up out of that place, that's the reason why we seek interactions with others, to see some sort of silver lining on it. Even if they are identifying with whatever it is that you're going through in that moment of time, you would like to think by the time of you get finished with that end of that interaction that you do have some sort of pick-me-up. But I'm talking about these interactions where there's no upside to them. I know of one person that anytime when we're talking and they're on this downward kick, it's like you could tell them everything up under the sun on how, hey, look, this is really not a good headspace. This is really not what I'm trying to do. And they don't care. They don't care, because all they see is what they see. And what they see is doom and gloom. And it seems like they're almost forcibly wanting to put this up on you. They're not looking for any type of pick me up. They're just in this bad headspace, and they want you to be there with them too. I don't know. I have encountered people like that, where you're just talking to them, and it's just like, soon as we resolve one issue, you're on with the next. You always got something going on. That's the reason why I do so many videos on this channel, talking about like the drama that people do, and being careful not to go down the rabbit hole with these people. And sometimes when you recognize something that's it's a bad interaction, it's not something that you really should be partaking of, and you're saying to yourself, well, I done said this to him 10, 15 times before. I'm going to just do it one more time, then I'm done. No, really, when you're doing that, the reason why I made the one video with the saying, just one more time and then I'm done, the reason why I made that video is because, in a way, you're trying to justify away talking with them and going down that rabbit hole with them one more time. You're almost expressing too much empathy. You're doing so much empathy to where it's almost like it's enabling them. That's the reason why I talk about doing self-directed questions and not really even giving advice to people. Especially when you're talking to people who are, hard-headed, and they're determined to do the same thing over and over and over, and they're bringing things to you, and they're perhaps looking for a solution. Put the ball back in their court. I don't know. What do you think you should do up on it? Man, you said you're tired of this happening, and so what are you going to do? All I'm doing, I'm just posing a question to you, just like how you posed it over to me. Now, you got to be mindful how you're doing that. Make sure you're not doing that in a condescending way or trying to be sarcastic with it. Sarcasm is really a thing that I despise when you're trying to relate or you're trying to connect with a person. Because when you're being sarcastic or condescending, it's like it's really no need in us even interacting or talking. Because I just kind of feel like you're making a mockery of the situation. So that's something I'm careful to avoid when I'm talking to people. So that's the reason why I bring that up. But I'm talking about when people are trying to give you this bad energy, you got to ask yourself at the end of the day, what can I do with this? How do you possibly expect me to turn lemonade out of these lemons that you're giving? Because it's all bad. Now, don't get me wrong. With Ayin being stubborn in some ways, and what I mean by being stubborn in some ways, yeah, telling me that I can't do something or trying to be seemingly negative upon what I'm doing, yeah, it gives me fuel to push on ahead, because it's just like, oh, well, yeah, I'm going to show you. Yeah, that's one way, but I'm just talking about just bad energy. The people that we just got done talking about for like 3.5, 4 minutes. In regards to when you're around them, there's just everything is just doom and gloom, and it just seems like it's hopeless all the time. Sometimes you can catch them on some up days, but most of the time when they're in that, it's just like, you want to depart their presence. It's just like, what do you want me to do with that bad energy? How can I utilize all of this negative and this doom and gloom that you're talking about and doing? What can I do with that? See, you asking yourself that question will allow you to, or at least it should, kick into a headspace or a mindset of, what can I do about this stuff that's going on? Because this has nothing to do with me. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to place this down since it has nothing to do with me. And I'm going to focus on what does have, what I do have a hand in controlling. Which is hopefully some goals, accomplishing some goals or some other things that you have your mind set on finishing out in your life. And certainly not picking up this foolishness that you've picked up from somebody and trying to carry it on with you and trying to incorporate it up off into your routine. There's empathy, and then there's just being, being overly involved. I've said this before. You got to know where you end and others begin. You don't want those lines all blurred. That's how you end up in stressful situations where you're taking on a lot more than what you need to take on, and you're just like, man, I don't know which way is which. I don't know what's my problems and what's theirs. So that's what I'm thinking of when I'm thinking about the topic of this video. When you're thinking about what can I do with this bad energy. Think about it. In the meantime, while you're thinking about it, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Follow me on my other social media, Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram. I'm on the whole 9. Obviously, I'm on YouTube. Okay? In the meantime, stay encouraged. Avoid being discouraged. My name's Ayin. You have a good one.